Thank you for having me. My name is Brian Wood, and this is my presentation, IoT for Fun and Profit. If you get the wordplay that's in the title, feel free to come by the Redpanda booth and we'll give you a free t-shirt. If you don't get the wordplay that's in the title, feel free to come by the Redpanda booth and we'll give you a free t-shirt. Just a little bit about me. Creative technology leader. I love tech. I love playing with cool toys. I love being passionate about my work, and I love having as much fun as I can with working with great people. My job at Redpanda right now is to work with and help customers architect solutions before they purchase our products. And I'd like to start off with just a brief introduction to Redpanda. What we're going to do is we're going to walk you through a little bit of an examples, an IoT use case. And what we're going to do is we're going to sample some IoT data, we're going to bring it into a real-time streaming platform, and then we're going to do some analysis on it. And I'm going to give you a quick walkthrough of some of the tools that Redpanda makes available to help make this use case possible. So at its core, at our original conception, our founder and CEO, Alex Gallego, sat down and said, Kafka is Java, and it's slower than it should be for a real-time streaming solution. So I'm going to rewrite it in C++ and kind of gain back a bunch of performance benefits. I'm going to make it more scalable and more reliable. And he's built a company on that where you can have a completely managed, more scalable, faster, more efficient system, streaming system than Kafka. But it also leverages all of the Kafka APIs. So we get to use all of the tooling that's available. We're a drop-in replacement, but offer superior performance and a lot of extra bells and whistles. We have some unique deployment models. We can offer you a completely managed solution inside of your cloud account. You can also self-host it yourself. It's also a community product, so you can actually go and use this. It's business source available, so you could go and self-host it yourself. You can try it out yourself. We have plenty of successful customers out in the community. And the other kind of half of our portfolio is a massive connector solution. So we have the ability to very, very easily interconnect lots and lots of services in your infrastructure, lots of data sources, lots of destinations. And most recently, we've been building lots of AI features and tooling. So you have the ability as well to bring in like models. You can send your data to OpenAI or to lots of different, you could leverage like AWS Bedrock or different models and query them or do, essentially enrichment to your data as you're moving data from one place to another real time. So we give you that kind of extra flexibility to leverage LLMs and new AI techniques and things like that inside of your real-time infrastructure. One of the other really neat features that we've just been announcing recently is the ability to take any of our destinations or sources and leverage them as MCP servers, allowing any agents that you're developing to be able to have governed and auditable access to data that lives within your infrastructure that we're connecting to. So it's kind of a Swiss Army knife, right? It's a really big toolbox of real-time connectivity tools and brokers that give you a lot of extra flexibility and integrations with just about anything that's out there. So sorry for the sales pitch, but it is very relevant to the example that we're going to be going through right now. Oops, I'm pointing this thing in the wrong direction. So I want to show you guys just a quick summary of the solution that I'm kind of talking about here. If you're familiar with IoT, the use case is IoT. We have a little MQT, or a little firmware, a little embedded device with a temperature sensor in it. I was actually going to bring it up here. I kind of forgot to go grab it. But if you want to see it, it's actually at our table over there. It's a little ESP32 microcontroller with a tiny little bit of code on it and a little sensor that can read your temperature and the humidity of the environment that you're in. But what we're going to do is we're going to send that data, the temperature and humidity data, into the AWS IoT service, and we're going to be leveraging their MQTT broker. So we're going to be kind of using that. That's the native way. That's the way that most people are connecting IoT data solutions. We're going to take that data and we're going to pick it up from AWS's IoT broker, and we're going to, with Redpanda, The MQTT connector in Redpanda is the 5th most popular connector that we have. And then we're going to put that data into your Redpanda topics. And that data is going to kind of magically be reflected into Iceberg, where then we can query it and do analysis on it. And like I said, we're going to predict the future. So the device itself, that's an ESP32. Like I said, there's one at the table if you want to get a closer look at it. These things are great. They're like a few bucks on Amazon. If you ever like want to tinker or get into IoT, they're really, really cool. There's lots and lots of different SDKs and development tools and utilities for them. I use Platform IO to build firmware and push it out there. You can use Arduino, you can use all kinds of cool stuff. But this essentially has a 2-core, 32-bit microprocessor, 300 megahertz clock speed. It's got a full Wi-Fi and Bluetooth stack on it. So it's a pretty powerful little device to get for, $3 or $4 off of Amazon. They make a version that even has a camera on it for a couple bucks more. But its ability to connect to Wi-Fi and emit telemetry is what we're going to be leveraging here. And this is just a small summary of the code. You don't have to really read the code. All this is saying is the device is going to power on. It's going to connect to Wi-Fi. It's going to read the data from the sensor, and then it's going to send that data to the MQTT broker in the AWS IoT stack. The AWS IoT stack is fairly ubiquitous in the IoT space. If you're familiar with it, lots and lots of people use it to build their IoT solutions, gather data from the field. All types of IoT solutions are based on it these days. And that's why I chose it, right? It's because it's a very, very common solution for gathering telemetry from IoT devices. Oops, did I skip one? There we go. This is the data itself. So as you can see, all we're doing is taking the ID of the device that we've generated. We're sampling humidity and we're sampling temperature. And we are gathering a timestamp and a unique ID for this transaction and sending it on its way onto the MQTT stack. Very, very simple. Oops, I keep doing that. And this is the Redpanda configuration. Again, very, very simple. I'm focusing on simple, not a lot of moving parts. As you can see, this is really the main parts and pieces necessary to configure Redpanda Connect. Redpanda Connect is a single binary, so you take this YAML file and you run that single binary against this YAML file, and it's going to just dutifully pick up those messages that are sitting in your MQTT topic and send it to, you can see the output section, it's going to send it to the Redpanda cluster, and just each message is going to pick them up and send it to the topics that are on the Redpanda cluster. Very, very simple idea, but that's the point, is we want something very simple. Now this is the same mechanism where I was talking about earlier. If you wanted to do enrichment, if you wanted to do windowing, if you wanted to do some type of basic aggregation, or if you wanted to serialize the data, or lots of other different things that you would do on the way as you're moving your data around, Redpanda Connect absolutely has the ability to do those in a very, very simple way. And again, I find a lot of people in the field writing microservices to do this kind of work, which means they're firing up an IDE, they're writing code, they're deploying a microservice somewhere that pretty much just picks up and syncs data from one place to another, because it's a really, really valuable function that a lot of people are doing. So now that the data is in your Redpanda topic, this is an example of the Redpanda interface, the developer interface, or the console. So if you ever want to, you can go and you can poke around and look at your topics. You can create new topics. You can look at your schemas. You can manage your users. It's a very, very developer-friendly and ergonomic interface. And this is just an example of that evidence of that payload, right, that we were looking at showing up in the console where we can actually look at it. And if we wanted to turn on Iceberg, this is how we do it. It's just a topic property. You can do it via the CLI. You can set it via the console here. But it's just you look at all your topics, whichever one of those topics you want to turn into an Iceberg table, you go and you configure this parameter right here, and your data will show up in Iceberg. And now just announced today is our integration with Databricks via their Unity catalog. So you get a really, really fantastic experience here. all of your data, right, that's flowing around, could be IoT data, could be all kinds of other data, could be financial data. This is a really, really fantastic integration. All of your data that sits on your topics, any specific topic that you want to suddenly show up as a queryable table that you can now go and do analytical work on, all you have to do is enable that one property and it shows up in your catalog, in the Unity catalog, where Databricks is going to be able to do your compaction and your table maintenance activities and things like that. So it's going to give you a pretty fantastic experience. It's a pretty tight integration where, you know, all of your real-time, all of your Kafka kind of oriented use cases, all of your real-time data or connectivity that's going on, any of those topics now have the ability to be reflected in a queryable way, very, very ergonomically. And I'm just querying this data out of Iceberg using a Python client. It's a little bit more basic than a lot of the really fantastic stuff you could do in the Databricks ecosystem. But you can see here, right, we started with a JSON, or with a simple JSON object, and now it's been serialized and deserialized and put back into Iceberg table format. And now you've got a handful of rows here where we can now track the temperature and the humidity in my office over the course of time, right, with the timestamps. Hello. Now, this is the profit part of the discussion. This is just an example of some really basic analysis that you can do with the data that once it's in a table for you to be able to query. You can see that Prophet is a very, very simple library provided by Meta. It's open source that allows you to do very basic linear regression on time series data. In Python, all you have to do is get your time series data into a data frame where you've got a column for your timestamp and a column for the value that you want to predict, which is really great. That lines up with the data that we were just looking at. And what we're also doing, which I'm not showing here, is we're establishing co-regressors. In other words, can this value as it moves along up and down, can that be influenced by other time series data, right, that's synchronous with that data? So I'm not showing that here, but we are adding a co-regressor as well in the example. But you can see here, really it's very, very basic. We create a model, we fit the model to the data that's in the data frame. We establish what we define as the future. Periods equal 1 means I'd like to look one day out into the future and make a prediction on what I think the temperature and humidity is going to be. And then we actually apply the model to the data and come up with our forecast, which is just, again, a table of data with the future in it now. And then we can plot that, and we can send that to plot.io or any other plotting, you know, utility that's out there. And this is the ultimate, like, this is the net effect. This is the picture that draws. And the reason I really love this picture is this is my office. And you can see it says inside 00001. This is the temperature in my office, and you can see that the actual data stops there and that the forecast continues. But it got really, really erratic on the 25th of May in the afternoon after I got off work, because I put a box with a whole bunch of GPUs in my office to be able to do some AI learning and testing and things like that. And you can see that it just drove the temperature and humidity in my office pretty wonky, which caused which is good to have wild data when you're trying to do predictions. But you can see very, very easily that these are also informing each other, right? They're co-regressors of each other. And then we're looking out into the future and saying, hey, in 24 hours, we're going to be 29.3 degrees Celsius in my office, and we're expecting about a 40% humidity. So that's kind of the outcome, right? This is an example of, you know, some of the fun stuff you can do with flattened out data like this. And ultimately, the great advantages to an approach or an architecture like this is that it's extremely low cost, right? And we can even go lower. We've got serverless options available, but ultimately the Redpanda platform, if you're deploying in our BYOC architecture, we handle, you know, tens of gigabytes, tens of megabytes, hundreds of megabytes, if not gigabytes per second of data, right? And this one little device is emitting, half a kilobyte every 5 minutes. So we have the ability to process a ridiculously high amount of throughput, so you can scale from very, very low cost to a tremendous amount of throughput. It's also extremely durable. If you've dealt with other real-time messaging solutions that are out there, if you lose brokers, you lose messages, that kind of thing, Redpanda is reliable in that sense. We've got a lot of documentation and other third-party services that have audited and verified that we are truly an extremely durable solution. It's also entirely sovereign, right? These Iceberg tables can live within your account. The brokers themselves can live within your account and be completely managed by us. And it's very, very simple, right? So the idea is you can scale from a very, very low throughput to a very, very high throughput and pay the kind of incremental costs to your cloud provider rather than having to build some massive, massive solution. All of these tools scale as you go along quite easily. And so as I think about this demo itself, right, and the use case, we have a lot of customers that are in IoT. They're doing a lot of work that's very similar to this workflow, to this architecture that we're kind of exploring here. Some of the directions that I think I'm going to go, and I'll show the QR code again. If you want to grab that QR code, all of this code is out on GitHub. The little bit.ly link, right, will take you right there. And you could do any of this work yourself. Feel free to hit me up and ask questions. Like I said, I work with people in the field. I'm happy to give you some examples. But if I continue to evolve this, some of the ideas that I have are, I'd like to grab barometric pressure because that's a very classical leading indicator to weather, right? So if I add that as a co-regressor, it's going to be a great leading indicator to whether or not the temperature and the humidity are going to go up or down. So that's a really good data point to have. I'd like to deploy a whole bunch more devices. And I'd also like to add the telemetry that other devices are emitting as co-regressors to the data that we're trying to predict, just creating a larger data set, hopefully becoming more accurate. And then also, the reason that I leverage Prophet in this project is because there's only a handful of lines that you need to build your model, fit your model, make your prediction, and draw your picture. Random forest, XGBoost, temporal fusion transformers are all other regressive tools that you can use to predict the future, right? And to make a more accurate line right out into the future. Random forest is great, XGBoost is great. Temporal fusion transformers are fantastic because they allow you to establish leading indicators. And when you're training them, you can also use GPUs, which allows for massive parallelization. What's it called? Prophet is single-threaded, right? So you can only go so wide with your models and stuff like that. So there's the QR code again, if anybody's interested in checking out the code. There's the Redpanda Connect job is in there, the Prophet code is in there, the schema for the data is in there, and also the device code is in there. So you could actually take that device code, you could go and compile it, and you could put it on an ESP32 and recreate this whole project. So I think I'm really close to time, so I'll invite anybody who wants to ask any questions to feel free to meet us over at the Redpanda booth if you have any questions or would like to chat about IoT use cases or other high throughput use cases. But that's my talk. That's a nice little summary. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming and attending my talk. Have a great show.